Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Thanks for tuning in. We are going to go over a review of my Frontier here. This will be the 2-year ownership review. I never did a 1-year video, reason being, with my job, I don't drive the truck too much. So right now, in 2 more months, I'll have the truck for 2 full years, and I have 23,000 kilometers on it. So enough to give a good review now, but at the 1-year mark, I don't want to be the guy who drives his truck and, hasn't really done much and then tries to give you a review, because I don't believe those are accurate. I drive this truck day to day. It now has 23K on it. I've done a bunch of stuff, so I can tell you how it works stock and modded, as mine is right now. I'll show you some good, some bad, and you can decide for yourself, if you're looking at one of these trucks, either new or used, whether you want to give it a shot or not. All right, so first thing we'll go over is the suspension. Obviously, mine is fully modified, but stock suspension, I'm not going to say it's 100% as good as an aftermarket set. Aftermarket, the only thing really that you're going to gain is height, because stock, the truck sits pretty low. This is the Pro-4X. It's supposed to be off-road capable, but again, it did sit a little bit low. So these type of roads, I'm just driving up forest service roads right now. This type of stuff, no issues at all. I did a little bit of more hardcore stuff with the stock suspension. And again, the truck, because we do have rear lockers and obviously the 4x4 capabilities, with that, it didn't have any issues other than it was too low. Some of the spots where the guys with bigger tires and a lift kit could get through, mine was scraping a bit. But again, if you're not too worried about banging it up a little bit, go ahead, you're going to make it through no problem. But road wise, driving, it's just like any other truck. Of course, most of you guys that are going to probably or think about buying one of these, you're going to road test it. You're going to take one for a ride, but obviously, like any car, it's going to drive good on the road. But again, if you want to come up and do something like this, I would say you're going to make it. It's just going to be the height. And then as for if you want to mod it, because of course mine's fully modded, if you want to know, I have videos on all of it. It's a Dobinson lift and some bigger tires, so you can go back and check out those if you want. But modified, the truck, we got the 6-cylinder, no turbos on this thing. That's a big selling point for these trucks over the competition. There's not the little 4-cylinder with a turbo. This is your 6 without any turbos. And it has no issues. I've got the tent, the rack, bigger tires, the suspension. We've got our bumper done with the winch and everything. It's all throwing on weight, and then of course loaded up when we're going off-roading and stuff like that. And no issues. The engine pulls it just fine. On the road, obviously with the bigger tires, you're going to get a little bit of noise, but it's kind of like a ticking clock. After a little while, you don't really hear it. You tune it out. And people ask me if they're noisy sometimes, and I actually have to try and hear it when I'm out in the roadways now. And then obviously when you're off-road, you don't care about that, because you're not going to be quiet on all this gravel and stuff anyways. Now, as for the front of the truck, of course, I've changed the bumper. That hasn't really changed much. The cameras are not the best in the truck, but they do their job. I've had no issues backing up. It does have the 360 cam if you get the Pro-4X. And they're not the clearest things in the world, but they do work. And like I said, I've had no issues. One issue I have had trouble with is the sensors. Now, it doesn't mean the sensors are going bad. It doesn't mean your truck's not going to be able to drive. You're not going to lose power, go out of control, anything like that. But if you look right there in that little square part on the black, that is your collision sensor and all that different stuff for the forward collision and warning and all that stuff for the front of the truck. Now, issue being, not that it doesn't work, but like you can see, it's snowing. It wasn't snowing when I got up here, but it's snowing. And when you start getting stuff on there, or if you turn over this way, we've got the nice bright sun just behind the clouds there. If the sun shines just right on there, or you get any sort of dirt, if you're driving on dusty roads and you haven't wiped your window, or I've had it in really heavy fog. You get that mist that covers everything, really heavy fog, and again, with the headlights blaring out front, it creates that bright light. Other place I've had it is street lights. They're starting to replace a lot of the street lights nowadays with the bright white LEDs. And when that camera, or the sensor in there, I mean, picks up the bright light, it can't sense in front of your truck. It throws it off, and then you start getting a warning on your dash. Again, it doesn't stop you from driving. Nothing on the truck is going to freak out, but your front collision sensor is not working. Not the end of the world. You can come out. Most of the time, even the windshield wipers will get it, because you can see where my wiper wipes right here. It does clear it, but sometimes, again, it's just not enough, especially if you get the bright shining stuff in front of you like that, again, in the fog or the sun coming up or setting, just the right height to pick it up, the sensor will go off. But again, not going to ruin anything. And now the other part, which is probably one of my favorite features of this truck, is these headlights. Now, you don't get the LEDs like this unless you get the Pro-4X, but these things are the brightest headlight I've ever had on a vehicle. And it's not so good for the people in front of you or coming towards you, but for being out, like I do a lot of the low back road stuff like this, yes, I have all the aftermarket lights, but these things are insane. And one thing to keep in mind, the truck does have the auto sensing high beams. So if you're driving on a dark road somewhere, you can even make them brighter with the high beams, and when it picks up the light coming at you, they'll shut off automatically, which is really nice. But again, those lights, I highly recommend. The Pro-4X is a little bit more pricey, but even just to get these headlights alone added onto the truck would be well worth it for me. Now moving on to the rear of the truck. Now mine, believe it or not, being a fully loaded truck, does not have the locking tailgate. I have to put the key in to lock it if I want to lock it. But I don't mind that, because when I open it, it's always unlocked. I don't bother locking it. People are going to steal stuff, go ahead, don't care. But what people are having troubles with, if you do have the locking one, is when you unlock it with your key, it won't unlock. So the mechanism in here, I guess Nissan didn't lube it up enough. There's not enough grease. So when it's locked, people are pulling on the handle and it won't unlock because the little thing in there won't let go. So what you got to do, and I might make a video on this, even though I don't have it in mine, I could grease mine up. Take out all the little screws here, pop this plastic thing off. Your mechanism's right here. Lube up everything that looks like it has grease on it, get it nice and greased up, put it all back together, and it shouldn't have any more issues. But again, I might do a video on that later on, so if you want to do and see that, make sure to like and subscribe. Now the other nice thing in the Pro-4X is it comes with the rails on here. The last gen had them on the bottom as well. This truck does not, but I've seen people order them and drill them in themselves. You can see the two slots there and there. You do have to drill through your bed. Do it at your own discretion. Whether you want to or not is up to you. But again, they do make rails just like the one along the front there that will bolt directly onto the bed of your truck if you want more tie down points. But it does work really well. You can see I got a little hook here. I have a cargo net that goes across. All right, now as for the 4x4 and stuff like that, we have 4 high, 4 low, and your rear lockers. 4 high, you can change it on the fly. It'll do it. Flip it right into 4 high, no issues. 4 low, you have to stop, put it in neutral, put it to 4 low, and then back into gear once it's popped into 4 low, and then you're good to go. And as for the lockers, there's a rear locker button in there as well. And again, you got to stop, turn the lockers on, let them engage, and then you can go. But I haven't had any issues with that. Once you see how to do it, just go in the truck and do it a couple times. It's really simple to turn it on and off. And then the truck will pull you up and through anything that you have had issues with. All right, now talking rubber. Of course, I've got the lift and the bigger tires. These Mickey Thompsons, if you're lifted and you're looking for a tire to put on your truck, these things are insane. I love them. I've never got stuck. They grip, they pull you in and out of anything you can go through. No issues at all. But if you are not lifted and you have these stock tires, I'm not sure what comes on them now, but when I bought mine, came with the little hand cook AT somethings. I can't even remember what they're called exactly, but they sucked. They sucked in the rain, they sucked in the snow. Even when it was hot and sunny and dry in the summer, if you tried to give the truck a little bit of oomph to get going, you were spinning out. Where these things, obviously it's a heavier tire, it's wider, you got more rubber on the ground. It's not really a fair comparison compared to a stock tire. But again, I've noticed people a lot on the forums and stuff complaining about the stock tires, how they suck. And that's no lie, they do suck. I don't know why they went with that brand. But even if you don't want to upgrade quite to this extent, I do recommend getting even the same size tire, just in a different brand, because you'll see once you buy the truck, they do suck. So possibly when you're out there purchasing your truck, try to talk the dealer into upgrading the rubber maybe. That's always an option, but keep in mind the rubber is a no-no for me. And now, room. Obviously everybody wants to know, can I fit real people in here? Can I fit my kids in here? All that type of stuff. Yes, I do have the seats up right now, but I have had the baby seat in here. You can put it behind the passenger seat, but the seat will have to be scooched quite a bit forward. Can be uncomfortable. I find for me, I got the seat all the way back right now where I'm sitting here, and that will allow a shorter person to fit behind you still, or an adult. Not ton of leg room left, but they will fit. But you would not fit a baby seat behind the driver's seat. So what I do, if I have two tall people in the car, put it in the middle, and then the space in between the seats, you do have all your child restraints and all that stuff in the middle. It's not any different than putting it on each side, but then you have the room in between just for the top of the car seat like that to fit. And I've had no issues. I've had all three kids back here. They take up the whole back, but they fit, they're comfortable, and there's no issues and no complaining along the drive. All right, now moving inside the truck. With the Pro-4X, they automatically give you the Fender sound system. It's upgraded, you get more speakers, you get the sub in the back. My opinion on it, I'm not sure if it's like its own option now or what, but if you can get it without, I don't recommend the Fender system at all. I'm not sure how bad the non-Fender system is in this truck, but the Fender one sucks. It doesn't sound good. I don't know if the speakers are just placed weirdly in the truck or what, but it does not work as well. I'm comparing it to my Frontier or my Pathfinder. The Pathfinder's upgraded system has the Bose in it, and then the Mustang I had before this, of course, completely different vehicle. It's a little car compared to a truck, but it had the B&O sound system in it. And both my 2018 Pathfinder and the 2019 Mustang, those sound systems blew this thing out of the water. This Fender system, you can crank the bass right up to full. It does not sound good. You barely get any thump out of it. And in all honesty, the speakers are not that great. So it may be in the future, if I can find speakers to fit here properly without having to hack everything apart so it looks stock, I may upgrade it. But again, if you are thinking about spending extra dough to get the Fender sound system in there, I don't recommend it. All right, moving to the interior of the truck. The biggest complaint I have in here is the passenger seat. Now, when you're driving on road, it's fine. But if you're driving off-road, and I mean off-road at all, like little forest service roads like we're on right now, little potholes and stuff, I don't know what it is, because if you take this seat and I wiggle it, it doesn't really move. But when you're off-road and you start hitting the gravel, the back of the seat here starts doing this, and it rattles and knocks and bangs, and you can't get rid of it. If you have someone sitting there, obviously they hold it in place. It's not that big of a deal, but the seat rattles like crazy when you're driving. What I've actually done in the past is I stack some of my stuff up here, put a backpack or whatever, just to put a little bit of weight on here, and it stops it. But again, it starts doing this, and it will just drive you nuts. Now, number 2 on the interior is your backup camera. Obviously, it's not on right now. Not the quality, not how it works, but I've had it twice now in the 2 years, is when you go into reverse and your backup camera comes on, you'll start backing up, and then it'll freeze. And it'll come back, usually within about 3, maybe 5 seconds, it'll come back. But when you're backing up, something in the system, and again, it's only happened twice, something in the system glitches and it freezes that screen. But again, use your mirrors, you'll be fine. It does pop back on right away, but I don't know if maybe there is an update for the truck. I may ask NISSAN next time I'm in there if there's an update, but that's the only, I would say, major issue, because I'm calling it a major issue because if it continues and it gets worse, of course we know once warranty is expired, you don't want big electrical issues, especially something in the screen, to be messing up, because it's going to be a hassle to fix it. It's big money and just something to look at. But again, I've only had it twice. Camera freezes when you're backing up. Then other than the fender speakers and the screen, everything else on the interior I've had no issues with. One thing to watch, again, I've seen a few people, if you live in the hotter climates, the dash has started to warp. I've seen some really bad ones like up in this area right up against the window, and then a lot of them right around this little area here. It starts to let go or warp. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I have seen the pictures, so keep an eye up there as well. It is one issue with the truck, but again, I haven't had any issues with mine. And it does have a sunroof as well, and no leaks, anything like that. It does work. Of course, it's covered in melted snow right now, so you're not going to be able to see much out of there, but that stuff all works. The lights are not the brightest in the world, but they work for day-to-day purposes. And then as for all the controls, your wiper controls, headlights, all your phone and radio controls, and then your cruise control on this side, everything works good. Adaptive cruise works really good on this truck. I use it quite a bit on long highway drives, so that works well. Windows, I know a lot of people complain that they can't roll them all down automatically. You can see only the driver's side window has the auto function. There's no way to change that. That's how the truck is made. You can't put auto on the rest. Some people have wondered if you could, but again, only the driver's side has the auto. For me, again, maybe because we live up in Canada, I don't really roll my windows down that often. We don't get that hot where I need all the windows down, or if I do, it's not like a day-to-day thing. It's a once in a while we might get too warm, roll them all down. Then it's not a big deal for me just to hold it. But I could see if you're driving around and you want to just quickly put your windows down to be able to tap, would be a lot easier if you're in a hotter climate. But again, you can see we're filming this video in the friggin' snow, so winter is definitely coming. All right, so there you have it, guys. Quick review. If I can leave you with one thing, I highly recommend, if you can find one of these trucks, whether you know somebody or if you live out here, I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, give me a message if you want to test drive one like this and go a little bit off-road and see what they can do. I will have no problem taking you along. And just find somebody with the truck, because if I can tell you one thing in this video, when you're looking online, I've noticed a lot, it's not just for the Nissan Frontier, but a lot of vehicles, when you're looking up reviews, people don't come on the internet to tell you how good things are. People come on the internet to complain. So if you're looking up, not even just this truck, but if you're looking for Tacomas or the Colorados or the Rangers or whatever, you're going to go, holy smokes, everybody's negative. Maybe I don't want a small truck. It's not that the small trucks are having any issues. It's people come online to complain. If people's trucks are working good, they might take a picture and post it once in a while, but they're not going to come out and say, hey, everything's perfect, guys. It's all working. Everything's good. They're only going to come on and say, hey, this broke. This is wiggling. That's knocking. This is cracked. This is scratched. Whatever the case may be, they're going to come on to be negative. So again, if you're thinking about buying one, go get in one, test drive it. The ride's super smooth. The seats are comfy, whether you get the leather interior or cloth, they're both comfy. Works good. Transmission's good, lots of power. And again, it pulls my truck around no problem. I've got the tent and everything on there full time. So no issues, picks up speed nice on the highway, no problem passing everybody and all that. But again, keep in mind, get out there and feel it for yourself. Don't go off of reviews. Don't even go off of my review on this video. I hope I just pointed out a few things to keep an eye on, and the good and the bad. But again, I have no regrets picking up this truck. It's been one of the funnest vehicles I've owned so far. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. Hopefully we catch you in another one. Share with all your friends. And thanks for watching. Have a good day.